during the, when I was in graduate school, I took enough American government class, including the person who is the author of this book. It was one of the last classes he ever taught when he was at Florida State University. And people are like, but you're an international politics expert. Why are you studying American government? Well, you need to know both. You need to know American government, you need to know international politics to understand what America is truly about and what our interests are, what we do, what we should be doing, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're interested in that, I have a history major who wants to be in the State Department, and I was pretty much telling this person, if you want to go to the State Department, you've got to take some international politics classes. So keep that in mind. Somebody else is wants to join the CIA, by all means, take these kinds of classes. If you know people who want to do it, don't have to be a political science major. You can get it for humanities exploration credit too. But keep it in mind, because increasingly what happens internationally is a big deal for us. 2 last slides and I'm going to set you loose on an extra credit research project, as promised. So, if you got cell phones today, if you got laptops, if you got internet connection, get ready. Once again, a reminder, I want to make sure you got this. Things to know for the exam. Remember, they're in red. When I come up with your next exam, I'm going to look for stuff in red as my list of this has got to be included on there. The filibuster. Believe it or not, American Congress, you ever hear this old joke? This was a big joke when I was in college too. What is, you think about a pro and a con. Pro means moving something, con means stopping something. So what is the opposite of progress? Congress, get it? Ha, pro, con. Okay. But seriously, to remember this, Congress is actually very good at stopping stuff. This is not an accident. Remember a fellow student who, when he was in college, said, and the Founding Fathers saw what we were going through today with all of these, we had actually government shut down for the first time my sophomore, junior year or so. We had Republicans and Democrats at each other's throats. I'm wearing a Newt Gingrich tie, just so you understand how this works. And they said, if the Founding Fathers saw us today, they'd be really disappointed that we're not passing a lot of laws. And I said, actually, we set up things so that it would be very difficult to pass a law. So when you realize how difficult it is to pass a law, this is not something that's unique to the American experience. It's always been this way. We've had our government with the checks and balances makes it very difficult for something to get through. Our Senate rules allowing for filibusters. That means you need to get 60 together to agree on a filibuster. You need, 67 to get a constitutional amendment, which is why we've only had like 28 amendments since our Constitution was created. Congress is designed to stop bad legislation more than it is to pass a lot of bills. This is not an accident. If you don't believe me, read the Constitution, look at the Senate rules. Putting things into a committee, having subcommittees, breaking up power. You need to actually get a majority of the committee to agree on something before it even goes to the floor for a whole house to vote. There's a whole series of rules, all kinds of different ways, not just filibuster, they're the best known. Lots of different ways that legislation can be stopped. This is not an accident. Put on your history hats. Why? Okay, only 2 of you have a hat, but I meant metaphorically. Actually, one suffices. If you're Steve Spurrier, you could slam it in. Why would we make it very difficult to pass a law? A whole bunch of crap doesn't get there. Good, that's a good start. Historically, what was the whole bunch of crap? Oh, that's it, camera's on. Metaphorically. Well, think about America's history. What we talked about with the Founding Fathers. Why did we have a rebellion in the first place?
British monarchy.
Not the British monarchy per se. I mean, the British monarch was...
They don't want to pass them in laws, which are so used to being.
British is right. The monarchy was the monarchy, and George III was very much a good symbol of we need to teach those colonists a lesson and we need to send out the troops.
But
Taxation, go ahead.
What about
Representation in what?
Parliament?
Parliament. Yes, Parliament was the problem. There was a democratically elected, or relatively for its time, there was a democratically elected Parliament. The thing is, if you study anything about British government, if you take me for comparative politics a year from now, you'll get to realize that it's hard to stop anything coming out of Parliament. If you're in the minority in British politics, you can't do anything. Seriously, you cannot stop any legislation going through. You can complain about it, you can bring it up in question time, you can go to the media and say, this is a bad bill, and that's about all you can do. This is how a parliament system functions. Stuff sails on through. True story. A friend of mine studied from Florida State, studied up in London. He did like an internship up in London, and there was the British Parliament. He did an internship with the British Parliament, and he said that like a lot of the British Parliament, like they're in pubs, and then a bell will go off in the Parliament, and it tells everybody to put down their glass of or pint of beer and go over and vote. You don't have to be sober to vote. All you have to do is just vote with your party. Stuff just sails through. You don't need to know the issues. That's how a parliament system is set up. A parliament system is set up to pass stuff really quickly, really easily. For American politics, you gotta be sober. There's all kinds of rules you need to know. There's all kinds of points of procedure. There's all kinds of getting through committees and subcommittees and filibusters. They can block bad legislation because the Stamp Act sailed on through. Townshend Act sailed straight on through. The Intolerable Acts, sailed on through. Nothing could stop these. The British Liberal Party, the Whig Party of its time, they actually sympathized with some of the stuff the colonists were going through. They couldn't even slow stuff down for a meaningful debate about, wait a minute, if we keep passing all this stuff, if we keep sticking it to the colonists, they might rebel. No, if they did, we could knock them off. That's what the Tory conservatives said. Do you understand? So remember that. The opposite of progress is Congress, and it's not just a joke, it's reality, folks. We set it up so it's very hard to pass something. There's another reason why. Anybody heard of H. Ross Perot? Never heard of him? Because the last time we had a guy, he was a business guy, he was a Texas businessman. He was the CEO of EDS, and they funded his own company, Perot Systems. He was kind of a techie kind of person, but he's kind of short, and he had a thick accent, and he had big old ears. Oh, he took the first debate by storm. Everybody loved this guy. He was all full of jokes and stuff. But he did bring up a few good points. And he said this, he said, every time they pass a law, it takes away a little bit of your freedom. That's why we make it difficult to pass laws. Do you understand how that works? So when you understand, don't just understand filibuster, don't just memorize it for its sake. Recognize why it is difficult, because a lot of people have very low opinions of Congress. Why? They don't pass a lot of stuff. That's right, but they also don't pass a lot of crap. So use Wesley's term. Remember also the delegate model. However, no matter how your personal feelings are, you are to represent what you think. Go ahead, John.
Like the people you represent?
Yeah, you've got to go with what they voted for you. You have to speak your district's mind. That's what the delegate model is. One of the first institutions we created was in Virginia, the House of Burgesses. It's their state legislature. The lower house is still called, to this day, the House of Delegates. You know, what does delegate mean in any way? In everyday terms. You ever heard the phrase, to delegate something? Ron, what you got for me? You want to delegate something. What are you doing? Never heard that one before? Brackett, you ever heard of delegate? What are you delegating?
Delegate tasks,
Okay, meaning what?
spread them out.
Okay, so you're getting someone else to do something. Anybody here in the Greek organization, fraternity, sorority? Y'all delegate stuff? Say, all right, so the president doesn't have to do everything. You delegate, you're like, okay, Wesley, you're in charge of bringing the coleslaw. John, you're in charge of the potato salad. Jordan, you bring the hot dogs. Grant, you bring the buns. Harrison, you got the mustard. You know, like you're delegating, right? You're spreading out tasks. Does that help you understand it? Write that in your notes if it'll help you. To delegate something, you're passing on responsibility to somebody. Just like the voters are passing on the responsibility for you to represent them. Different from the trusteeship model. Remember, two different ways to vote. Vote the national interest, vote your district. Tim Kaine brought this up last night, or was brought up about Tim Kaine. He is personally opposed to the death penalty, but he upholds the death penalty because that's what an overwhelming number of Virginians want. I totally understand. I used to be very pro-death penalty until a friend of mine from high school is on death row. I didn't tell you all this.
What do you do?
Killed a small child. Not like a driving accident, like actually murdered a small child. You would have never guessed if you'd known him.
So you hanging with child kids?
The what? Yeah, it was a big national case. It was in 2001 in December. They had a grainy video of him leading a small child out of the Walmart that kind of got separated from the parents.
And that's the one you killed?
Yeah. Oh yeah, the evidence against him was overwhelming. He was on death row. I tried to visit him just because I figured even people on death row need to visit.
They let you visit?
No. The rules are in death row. If you visit death, anybody ever been to death row? To visit.
I'm about to say, well.
No, when you visit death row, the person who's the prisoner can specify a list of people who can visit, but only the people on that list. So I even asked like some of the prison guards, I was like, can you kind of, I know I'm not on any list, I'm flown in from Georgia, we haven't seen each other in a long time, can you like hint that I'm downstairs? I'm sure it could use somebody to talk to, it was just before Christmas. But, I said, sorry, that's against the rules. So I waited around for a while, but finally had to take off. His conviction, well, his death penalty sentence was overturned, but not his conviction. What happened was the judge gave improper instructions to the jury. They claimed that because he showed no remorse throughout the trial, then you could use that as a factor to consider using the death penalty against the person. In other words, a remorseless killer. But those are improper instructions. Like, you can't say that. Because certainly nobody is under obligation while they're trying to defend themselves to start crying a lot if they really believe that they're innocent of the crime. So it'd be a double standard. And of course, you're crying, you know, if you're weeping and stuff like that, then they'll nail you anyway. So it was just improper instructions. It should be up to the jury to decide on that without a judge telling them you must consider this. So he's in prison for the rest of his life. I don't know if I should. I still haven't come to terms yet. Like every time I go to El Paso, I keep trying to decide since he's not on death row anymore. Like, do I visit him? Because I'm a parent now, so I can't have that much sympathy. But he's a high school from us. It happens. Just all I can say is, if you got kids, just keep them safe.
Those two, you got Frank,
I don't know. It was not just like witness testimony. It was mostly forensic. And then we didn't even know that he had had a prior conviction for not exactly that incident, but another incident involving a child. That also hurt a lot in this case. But yeah, if you're a parent, just keep the kids close. Don't let them wander off. Keep an eye. By the way, remember how I was telling you about the overall opinion of Congress? The overall opinion of Congress is pretty low. It's even lower now. I think it's 9% as of today. So this is a couple years ago. But I thought you'd find this interesting. How people view their own member of Congress is much higher for all the reasons I told you about. Casework. Remember I told you about that? Franking, the free mail, giving out goodies to your district. So what people will do is they'll say, honk if you hate Congress. Everybody honks. Honk if you hate your member of Congress, your congressman, your congresswoman. I don't know, but my member is cool. It's just every other member is a jerk. But understand why people come to that conclusion. All of the advantages of incumbency, I've given you these earlier. One other thing has gone on, one last thing to show before we get too far. What this is these are congressional party unity voting. In other words, how often you vote with your own party on all the issues, or most of the issues. So, in other words, the higher up you go, like 100% would be like British Parliament. You always vote with your party. You can be drunk from a pub and show up, and as long as you hit the blue button instead of the red button, you're okay. Guess you gotta tell the difference between blue and red. Budweiser and Miller. Oh, sorry, that's American. What would it be? Guinness and Hard. But notice what's happened over time. Can y'all see? Party-based voting has gone up dramatically, close to 90% for both parties too. Now back in the 60s, like for example, during this time, we're talking about civil rights legislation, Voting Rights Act. There were a lot of cases of bipartisanship, where people crossed party lines. They created bipartisan bills, amendments dealing with civil rights. That was one time in our history where you saw a lot of people crossing party aisles to vote. Some would call that trusteeship model. Or maybe their districts were telling them, you've got to vote for this. So it's one of the times where you saw this. I thought we'd take a look at a different one. Extremism in Congress. Let's take a look at what it looks like today. So I'd like you to get on the, let's see, hop on the internet. And you can do this for liberals or conservatives. It's just easier to access the conservative data. So it doesn't mean I'm conservative, doesn't mean I'm a liberal. So type in American conservative. Again, this is not, we're still looking at this in nonpartisan fashion. Okay, so you got something like this. Okay, y'all have that? Okay, go to ACU ratings. These are used by scholars to figure out how conservative a member of Congress is. All right, so y'all see this? Everybody know what this building is? I actually ran by it last week. I didn't realize they had a big memorial to James Garfield, who was assassinated. I did not know that. So I ran by the Capitol just to see the monument. When we were evacuated because of the bomb threat, they evacuated us to the other side, so I didn't get to see it.
Bomb threat?
Oh yeah, yeah. And the day before, somebody opened fire and wounded 2 people in Congress. There was a shooting the day before we got there. Yeah, good thing we went a day afterwards.
Recently?
Oh yeah, this is the spring. It was in March.
Wow. Tell me on the news.
Yeah, this is like end of March. It was during your spring break last year. High school spring break or college spring break. You didn't hear about that? There was shooting in Congress and the next day there was a bomb threat. Yeah, what a time to visit. I guess not. Well, it's funny because there was I saw a cartoon in a Washington paper, I think it was the Washington Post, where they say, shooting at the Capitol. Everybody goes, whatever, they're all bored. Bomb threat at the Capitol. Snow is coming. Ah! Everybody's running around trying to find something. That's Washington for you. Okay, so you go here, federal legislative ratings. Let's go to the, all right, so let's click on those. Let's go to 2015. They don't have 2016 numbers because, hey, it's still 2016 and folks are still voting, or theoretically voting. So y'all can get here, federal, once again, should say national government ratings. Just remember, Washington Nationals. Y'all got that? All right. So 2015, both chambers state all. Click submit. Oh, look, they even have their 2014 numbers. So you can take a look at the legislature. Okay, do y'all see this? All right, let's take a state. Okay, I'm just going to say California. Okay. A score of 0 means 0 conservative votes. A score of 100 means you're 100% conservative. You vote with the conservatives. Does that make sense? Do y'all figure out that? So there's everything. 50 would be, any guesses? No, no, it's 50% conservative. Yeah, moderate, centrist, whatever. Yeah, 50%. So 75% would be 75% conservative. Okay, we need some standards first off. What should we consider someone who's extreme? Votes 75% liberal or 75% conservative? What do you think, 80%? What do you want to do, 80%, 75%? As long as we stay consistent, give me a number. 75, you think 75 could be moderate and 80% would be conservative? You want to go with 75? Okay, Williamson says we're doing 75%. Got it? Okay, so let's look and see how many members of Congress from California would be considered extreme. Can you all see for California? Okay. What are you noticing right off the bat?
That they're not that many.
They're not that, okay. So moderate would be between a 25, let's just say 26 and a 74. Sound fair? How many we got between 26 and 74? Okay, for California, what do we got? Okay, so you got Calvert, whoever he is. He seems kind of moderate. Cook, technically. Then him, so we got 3. We got 3. Let's see, Knight, so that's 4. Oh, Kevin McCarthy. Oh, so close, 79. Only have, you gotta count 4. Nunez, 58, so that's 5. A lot of people from Congress. Well, California's the biggest state. So we got 5 moderates. Valadao, that would be 6. So we got 6 moderates from California. Out of how many? Out of, I think it's 57. I think they have 55 congressional districts. What's that? 6 divided by 57. Come on, beat me. Beat the old man trying to work his calculator. Yeah, 10.5%. So only 10.5% would be moderate. Everybody else would be very liberal or very conservative, right? Okay, let's all take a different southern state, starting with Ronald. You get to do Alabama. All right, let's see. Which state do you want us? We'll do Florida. Okay, Betsy, give me one. Tennessee. All right, Solomon, what you got?
Texas.
Texas. All right, what you got, John? I was going to say Texas. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, Alabama. I didn't let you choose. Are you going with Alabama? Okay. Florida. All right. Before Matthew attacked, Hurricane Matthew. Yeah, my mother-in-law's. My mother-in-law's coming. Wait, you already have Florida?
I'll switch. It's cool.
Which one are you taking, Wes?
I'll take South Carolina.
South Carolina.
That's what I was gonna do.
Me too.
Well, nobody picked Georgia. You want to pick Georgia?
No.
No.
Yeah.
All right, Georgia.
I'll do Kentucky.
Kentucky. Is that Southern? Yeah, they're in the SEC. But you got Tyreek. You got who? Huh?
Delaware.
Delaware? No, you can't do
Technically
Delaware.
below the Mason-Dixon line.
It was a slave state, World War II, or World War II, Civil War.
Yeah, there was some.
Yeah, the outlaws are- Okay, not Delaware, gotta give me a bigger one. How about Louisiana, LSU? Grant, what you got for me?
Take Mississippi.
You'll take Mississippi. George, what you got?
Just pick any state.
Arkansas, how about you? You got Arkansas. Sydney, well, you can say Missouri, I'm gonna take Missouri. Somebody else got Florida.
Wait. I
Take
want.
New Jersey.
Wait.
New Jersey,
Wait.
That's not that.
okay, you got Missouri?
Oh, no, it doesn't stay.
And even though they're not in the ACC anymore, can you take?
North Carolina.
All right, North Carolina. Okay. Virginia, you got
Look
it.
at South
Take South
Carolina.
Carolina.
Somebody else has South Carolina.
Somebody-
You've got,
I got Texas.
no, somebody else got Texas. You've got Maryland.
No.
You've got Maryland.
Oh, West Virginia.
Okay, West Virginia, I'll take Maryland. Come on, jeez, come on.
What am I supposed to do?
Maryland, go with Maryland. They were a slave state also.
Why did I go to slave state?
They're all slave states. We're looking at the South. Well, Kentucky was a border state. Maryland was a border. Yeah, Maryland was a slave state that didn't secede. Kentucky, Missouri did not secede.
So, I guess I take Georgia.
Somebody else has Georgia. Well, then you got Missouri. Who's got Missouri? Who'd I give Missouri? All right, you got Missouri then. They're in the SEC.
I'll take Missouri.
All right.
What am I supposed to do?
I'll take Maryland and Delaware. Okay. What you gotta do is you gotta count the number of congressional districts and then count the number of moderates, just like I did with California. 6 out of 57.
Count the number of-
Moderates. Moderates mean they've got to score 25 to, or 26 to 74.
You said moderate, mean they got scored 26 to 7.
Yeah.
And what's the
Okay,
other?
so Jordan, come on up here. I'll show you. House and the Senate. So how many electoral votes they have? Oh, good Lord.
Wait, I'm on the way.
Yeah,
I'm
there you
sorry.
go. You read this?
I need my whole computer checked in. Hey, Grant, tell me that.
You like that commercial? You see that commercial where the guy's got bleeding fingers and stuff because he doesn't want to answer his phone, he's gonna like slash the finger. Your phone looks like that. Yeah, start with Cassidy and go all the way down to Scully's. Yeah, so count the number. Okay, perfect. Yeah, between 26 and 74. Above that, because of the Williamson rule, 75 and above would be conservative, strong conservative. 25 and below would be strong liberal. Yeah, well then you just say.
25 to what?
26 and 74.
Guardian and
Because they're between 6 and 7. Yeah, exactly, so you've got more down here, right, here is 95 is not, Cleaver is 0, so that's not.
Or count the districts, just
Basically, it's full.
count the people.
So count the number of senators and House, and then email me the details. Okay. Yeah, so that'll tell you how many electoral votes.
I could have guessed the results for Georgia.
Let me see, just because I'm always looking. Okay. Don't forget to email me the results. Be accurate. Let's see if you're right. Yeah. Whoa. Lynn Westmoreland was the closest. I actually was emailing back and forth his chief of staff to see if we could get him a visit. He was gonna come toward the later of the month to talk about the Benghazi hearings. But he had to decline. So I'm looking at November to December, but I'm trying to get him.
That'd be-
So January at the latest, if they have like some budget crisis or something, so we can't. But just let you know, I'm trying. Yeah, so count the number of moderates. If it's zero, it's zero.
Extremes.
And then email me how many moderates and how many total representatives and senators they have. Can y'all do that? If you don't,
We're counting senators?
yep, we'll count the senators because they cast votes too. So like Johnny Isaacson and David Perdue both have voting scores of 83. Isaacson would have been a moderate in 2014. Yeah. So, Sanford Bishop, sometimes he votes moderate. David Scott does too sometimes. Westmoreland's the closest. I tell you, I'm a bad influence on that guy. You too. And there's John Lewis, by the way, Jay Lewis. I don't know if you all know this, but in January, he's coming to speak at LaGrange College during the he's the Martin Luther King Jr. speaker. He's also featured in the movie Selma. Or there's an actor playing. Okay,
I'm not confused on something, I just.
okay, what's your
You said
statement?
count the number of congressional districts, count the number of moderators?
Now, count the number of moderates and count the number of congressional districts. So right now,
Just the people.
Georgia has what? How many do we have? 1, 2,
14 in the house.
We have 14?
Yeah, in the house.
14, sure enough. And then 2 senators, so that's 16 total members of Congress. 0 moderates. Does that make sense? Okay.
I emailed you, y'all can know.
All right, good.
Oh, we supposed to send an email now.
Right, hang on just for a second. If you've already emailed, that's fine, you'll be sending me a second one. Because, as Sydney points out, what about the non-southern states? So we're gonna compare. Now, first off, let's go around the room before we count the next one. Ronald, how many moderates does Alabama have? 2. Okay. Really? 2.
So we're gonna do northern states now.
Yeah, okay.
I got New York.
Actually, Terry Sewell, by the way, is who Wesley Dismuke interned with us.
So nobody picked New York.
Oh, Robert, really? Adderall got moderate over time. Okay. Wait, who's the other one?
New York.
No. Who's the other moderate?
What is that too?
Well, you got 2 right on the line. Okay, so you got 1. So don't send off just yet. Okay, Wesley, you did which state?
South Carolina.
South Carolina. What you got? 1? Okay, see how this works? How many, and then count the, 1 moderate, yeah. But count how many districts they have.
They have 7 districts.
Seven.
2 senators.
Perfect, so they got 9 in this upcoming election. Okay, so what you got, Betsy, for 2015?
They have 11 total representatives, and there's 2 out of the 11 that are moderate.
Okay, how many senators?
2, and they vote
Okay.
for moderate.
So 11 plus,
It's 9.
okay, so it's 9 and then plus 2. Which day are you looking at again?
Tennessee.
Tennessee, okay, so they have 2 moderates. Stephen Cole's on it? Okay, so 2 out of 11, you see how that works? Sullivan, what you got for me?
I'm still counting.
Still counting, okay. John, what you got?
7 to 4.
7 moderates for Florida. It's kind of a purple state, could go either way. And that's including senators, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What you got, Brecken?
0.
0 out of,
Out of, what was it, 15, 16?
okay, 0 out of 16, so it's like Tampa Bay their first year, or Detroit Lions a few years ago. What you got for me, Caitlin?
I have 2 out of 8,
2 out of 8.
and I have Kentucky.
You had Kentucky, okay. Looks like Kentucky got a little small. Tyreek, what you got?
1 out of 8.
1 out of 8 for Louisiana? Oh, wow. Who was the moderate? Oh, Bruce Taney. Yeah, that's right. Grant, what you got?
3 to 6.
3 out of 6. Which state is that?
Mississippi.
Mississippi. 3 moderates out of 6. Yeah. And that includes, so they got 4 congressional districts? Yeah, I used to remember when they had 5 or 6. So Mississippi shrank. Remember, your population shrinks, you know, you lose congressional districts. George, what you got for me? You got Missouri? You got a cell phone that looks like Tyreek. You
No,
don't?
my screen coming. I just
Oh,
gotta
okay.
put the screen.
As long as you don't cut yourself, like, scrolling up and down. Okay, so what you got?
3 out of 10.
3 out of 10. Okay. So they have 8 congressional districts and then 2 senators, is that right? Or do they have 10
They
congressional?
got 2 senators.
Oh, okay, so 10 total. Okay, so 2 out of 10. What you got for me, Sadie?
At North Carolina, I have 1 out of 15.
1 out of 15. Wow. Supposedly one of those
We did
moderate
last
states.
states, I got New York.
All right.
I had Virginia and I had 1 out of 11.
1 out of 11. Virginia. Who is it anyway?
And Griffith.
Not one right now. Okay. Oh, I guess Frank Wolf's not up there. And you're counting,
But if I count senators, that's 1 out of 13.
there's Tim Kaine right there. Okay, I actually wrote about that because I had, somebody was like, oh, Tim King's too moderate, he's not progressive enough. And I said, well, I went to American Conservative Union, his score is a perfect 0% conservative. And people go, that's conservative data. I don't care, it's data. If you say he doesn't appeal to Bernie Sanders votes, he's fairly moderate, or he's fairly liberal. I mean, 0%, I mean, how much progressive can you get? Actually, what's Bernie Sanders' voting score? Negative. You can't be negative. This isn't algebra. This is politics. Although we have a negative deficit. But can you figure out what his voting score is?
Like his lifetime rating?
Or just what his voting score
His
is?
lifetime rating is 6.31.
So Tim Kaine is more liberal than Bernie Sanders. I know this.
Wow,
more
they
than-
figured that.
Yeah, oh, I got a lot of Bernie Sanders. I got a lot of Bernie Sanders people, man. Okay, now it's time for a northern state. So Sydney's got New Jersey.
I've got Illinois.
I got New York.
You've got New York. What you got, Harrison?
North Dakota.
What? No, you have to do both Dakotas.
There should be one new.
All right, Grant, I'm moving my way down. Grant, what you got?
That makes like a total of 6.
Vermont.
Vermont. Okay, you have to do Vermont and New Hampshire. What you got, Caitlin?
Nevada.
Nevada. You gotta do Nevada and Utah.
Okay.
All right. Brecken, you said Illinois. What you got, John?
Ohio.
Okay, Ohio's big enough. What you got, Tommy?
Alaska.
Alaska. You gotta do Alaska and Hawaii.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's.
What you got, Betsy?
Minnesota.
All right, Minnesota's big enough. What you got for me, Wesley?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, that's big enough. What you got for me, Ron? New Jersey's already taken. Ohio's already taken. How about Indiana? All right, Indiana. And I'll do Wisconsin. Because that's my first name. Wisconsin. Dang. Some are close. So Wisconsin is a perfect 0 out of 2. Wisconsin's over 10. But the Wisconsin Badgers are going to be 10 of them. What? Who did they lose to? They didn't lose to Michigan.
Yes, I did.
Oh, my mom will like that. She went to Michigan. My dad's from Wisconsin. 10-1. Actually, James Sensenbrenner, I think he's been there since I was born. I remember he gave a great quote. He said once during the crime bill debate, he said, hands and feet have killed more people than guns. I remember Jay Leno's joke was, hey, when was the last time you heard of some postal worker going on a kickboxing spree?
You seen those FedEx workers?
Are they doing like exercise? Oh, Tyreek, you didn't get a state. Let's see. I'm gonna give you a northern state that no one can take yet.
Washington.
Yeah, Washington. There you go. Washington State, of course, as in Washington Huskies, who wiped the floor with Stanford's bloody remain. Yeah, that came out of nowhere. Peterson. What's the state?
Does anybody keep up with this info for locals?
Yes, it's called Americans for Democratic Action. The only reason I'm not having us do it now is because they get all touchy whenever I cite their data. They're like, did you get permission? And they were the ones who started it. It was called Americans for Democratic Action in the 60s. They started counting votes to determine who's more moderate or liberal. So I have to like jump through a bunch of hoops to get any permission for this. Okay, so Harrison, what you got?
For North Dakota, I got 2 moderates and 1 extreme.
Ooh,
And
is
then-
Heidi Heitkamp one of those moderates?
For North Dakota,
What are we
She's a
doing?
new senator.
We're just doing moderates.
yeah, no, she was not.
She's not.
No, she was extreme.
They got 1 moderate. That's their Kramer guy. Are you saying, oh, somebody from South Dakota is moderate? Oh, you got 2 moderates from South Dakota. Does that make sense? So you got 1 moderate from North Dakota and 2 from South Dakota,
How do you get 1 moderate from North Dakota?
didn't it?
It was 67 and 65.2.
Okay. So we got 2 moderates, 67, 71. Let's see. And then 1 moderate, Kramer, 65. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So write that on in. Okay, what else you got? What's New Jersey like, Cindy?
We have 5 moderates.
5 moderates. I
Yeah.
wonder if the northern states are more moderate. Jordan, what you got for New York?
One moderate.
1 moderate for all of New York?
Yeah, there was 2 senators, 27 House representatives.
Wow, so count that number. What you got for me, Grant?
New Hampshire had 1 moderate out of 4, and then Vermont had 0 for
Okay. All right, I gave you got it already, Tyreek? Washington's got 2.
2 out of 12.
2 out of 12. Hey, they still have Norm Dix on there. Is he one of the ones? He was a linebacker. He's one of those cases of a college football player who went into Congress. He was there from 74 to like 2014.
Oh, no, it's more.
In a bowl game, he intercepted a pass at midfield to give Washington Huskies the win. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I never send that email.
Oh, okay, please do. Caitlin, what you got?
For Utah, there's only 1 out of 6, and then the guy out there is 4 out of 6.
4 out of 6 are moderate. Must be the casinos. Okay, what you got, Brecken?
There are 6 moderates out of 20 total.
Wow, for Illinois. John, what's on yours?
Ohio has 18, and then 5 moderates.
5 moderates out of 18. We're gonna see which one has more of the moderates or the north or the south will have more moderates. What you got, Solomon?
2 out of 3 for Alaska. Hawaii's like 0 out of 4.
0 out of 4. Okay, what was the state you were doing beforehand?
Texas, I had like 4 out of 38.
4 out of 38. I forgot how big Texas is. What's up, Kate? Betsy, what's your number?
Minnesota had 1 moderate out of 10.
Does this surprise you? I mean, it's not like we were saying it had to be exactly 50, 2/3 or so. We're talking 3/4.
New York got 9 out of 27 moderates.
Which one?
New York got 9 moderates
9 moderates.
out of 27.
Out of 27, so 1 out of every 3. What you got?
3 moderates.
3 out of 11. And Wesley, finish this off.
Pennsylvania is 10 to 20.
10 for 20. Sounds like Penn State University. Well, that quarterback's passing range. Okay, send it over to an email to me. I'll compile it up and we'll get to see the overall scores.
You still want the other 4? Test.
Which one?
Test.
What about the test? Yeah, I'm gonna grade it this afternoon. Oh yeah, bring it on by. If you got your old test, bring it on by so I can see whether, whether your multiple choice improved or not. Okay? See y'all on Monday when we start up the presidency. Oh yeah, no class on Friday. I'm giving you fall break off. Yeah, I tell people, I tell people casual, I say, guess what? Friday is actual Friday. It never gets old.
Friday's gonna be real casual.
Yeah.
Casual did not go to school. Casual just sleep all day.
Oh yeah. Oh, take a rest.